What's up, Thrashers, and welcome back to the Thrash Maniac 99 YouTube channel, continuing my streak of album reviews over the weekend, and this time I'm talking about a fairly short album, and I'm talking about an album that came out towards the end of the summer, like end of August, from formerly of Pittsburgh, now Cleveland, Ohio-based devil metal, death metal, black metal, thrash, grind, whatever you want to call them, Nunslaughter with their latest release. Red is the color of ripping death. So, brief little history lesson about Nunslaughter. They formed all the way back in 1985. I believe under the name Death Sentence. I could be wrong in that. To Metallum I go. Yes, indeed, they were known as Death Sentence. And then in 87, changed the name to Nunslaughter, and were pretty much around putting out demos and splits and EPs and all sorts of stuff. Didn't release their first album until 2000 with Hell's Unholy Fire, and they put out sporadic albums here and there. They're just mostly putting out EPs and splits with insert band here, compilations and stuff, and this is only their fifth album, studio-wise, their fifth studio album, and their first studio album in 7 years. And Red is the color of ripping death, and we kick it off with Murmur, which is just got this and this pretty much sets the tone for the rest of the album. It has this evil rawness to it. The riff and the beats that start off the song kind of remind me a little bit of the band Slaughter from Canada. Then again, they are a band that I see get compared a lot to Nunslaughter in terms of the way the speeds and the riffs go, and both being relatively in the death thrash zone. And it grooves after those riffs and beats come in, and there are so many catchy grooves, not only in this song but on the entire album, which was a nice short song to kickstart the album. Broken and Alone, very thrashy, with moments on here that remind me of Possessed, Repulsion, Autopsy, and Dismember. And I'm meaning the first Dismember album when I say that. More of those mid-tempo grooves come in to add more to this short onslaught of music to a horror starting off very almost doomy, kind of like a Celtic Frost song. And this song felt like a Celtic Frost track because it gets thrashy after that awesome doom intro, and just like how the riffs are going and like the beats, like I said, reminds me so much of Celtic Frost. Banished, we get even more doom coming in, and this time very Autopsy inspired to me. And while the tempo does pick up a tad, the track does remain relatively doomy throughout, but it does get into this almost punky Swedish death metal type of vibe towards the end, and I love the drum fill that concludes the track. The title track, once again, we start off with this heavy, evil, doomy, foot-stomping riff, and then after the doom comes the punky and the thrashy bits, reminding me once again of that old-school Swedish death metal style with how the beats and the riffs kind of cooperate together. And the way Dawn of the Dead shouts the title before it gets even faster was just evil and epic, and makes you want to fucking punch somebody in the face. Eat Your Heart, the riffs and the drums throughout, kind of reminded me a bit of Bolt Thrower, and I'm meaning perhaps in between that era of Realm of Chaos and War Master a little bit, but it maintains that evil, sinister vibe, as well as kind of that punky, Swedish sound going on. And I love how towards the end of the song it gradually slows down, which just makes it sound even more gritty. Annihilate the Kingdom of God, some vibes of Obituary kind of throws in to the mix here with the grooving riff before it gets very thrashy again. And first time you get blast beats on this album, and the vocals on this track in particular, Dawn of the Dead, it sounded like he was going for a more evil version of John Tardy from Obituary a little bit. Beware of God, very high energy thrash track, with moments that kind of reminds me a bit of early Sepultura and Slayer. Black Cat Hanging, a lot of mid-tempo stomping stuff, beats, before it slows down to doomy territory for a brief moment, but this was maybe the most groove-oriented track of the album, at least in my eyes, at least up to this point. Dead in 10, which was the longest song of the album, at a little over 3.5 minutes. More of that destructive doom riffing to build up into the intro, kind of like something you would hear in Autopsy or even Asphyx. And then it gets into full gear really quickly as it just thrashes into submission. More blast beats, and the breakdown on this song was quite nasty. The Devil Will Not Stray. Lots of chugging riffs going on throughout this entire track before it gets back into that Swedish sound, punky vibe. The Temptress very much continuing that vein of that Swedish death metal or punky kind of riffs and beats. Casket Lid Creaks, though, the penultimate track, very much a Death Doom song because it's just so atmospheric and evil, gritty, with a thick bass line and demonic vocals showing up towards the end to just add even more to the evil nature that this song has. And in the end, with a more grindy, thrashy tune and under a minute with Below the Cloven Hoof, just to add more chaos to conclude this album. So overall, yeah, a lot of the songs kind of follow a formula, but it's a damn good formula to follow. It's like just evil, doomy intros at times, very thrashy, very punky, very gritty, with some grooves, and I really, really love the album for the catchiness that it has. Tons of riffs on this album are memorable. Some of the vocal moments, like especially in the title track when Don's just shouting the title of the song in the album, just makes it feel anthemic to a degree. And because of all that, I'm going to give this a 9 out of 10. This is an awesome album. It's only about 35 minutes, but it doesn't feel like it's 35 minutes. This just feels like a quick fire, like beanbag punching, or boxing bag punching, and punching your mind into submission throughout the entire album, with how the grooves just catch your ear. The fucking thrashiness is just high energy. The death metal moments are really amped up. The doomy riffs you get at times. And just the overall chaotic and kind of almost party nature of the album. It's almost like a death metal. I could kind of see a little bit of where some of the more chaotic vibes come in for a band like, say, Hellripper, for example. I can kind of hear hints of that from what Nunslaughter does. But yeah, 9 out of 10. This is a fantastic album, especially if you love evil, sinister, old-school sounding death metal. This is it for you. But what did you guys think of Red is the Color of Ripping Death by Nunslaughter? Let me know in the comments below, and until next time, horns high. See you guys later. I do not want candles!
Wow. That's just Levi and Christmas getting
Stop it!
On.
I don't want candles! 10 candles? I'm wrecking myself. Screw that.
Myself going to a Christmas department store and just hearing someone over in the other aisle, I do not want candles!
Wow, I have had a brain fart.
I do not want candles!
Just in that voice.
Okay.
Never forget, I do not want candles!
Dick's toy.
No! 10 printers? Are you kidding me? This is the worst! I hate you!
I did not need candles!
I can see that as like a Metallica song. I did not want candles.